For Wednesday, October 7th, 2020, this is the Pro and the Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. And as always, welcome to the show. So, encouraging people to be better citizens. I'm sparking, if you will, trying to get a little bit of Tinder going, get a little bit of people more enthused, willing to at least think about making this government that we call the United States government a better thing for us all, better governance for us all. And we do that, we're going to have to do that by getting much more involved. You and I have to get much more involved, whether we like it or not. Thomas Paine, I think, said something like, if you wish to enjoy the benefits of freedom, you must endure the fatigue of maintaining it. It's something like that. I'm sure I didn't get it exactly perfect. But the point is, democracy is not automatic, and the better representation in our government is not automatic. It's not going to happen. And especially these days, we have some serious things going on where we've allowed social media to kind of get out ahead of us. And we're not dealing with it very well. And we're not dealing with each other very well. And we're not dealing with this very partisan, polarized environment that we've allowed to occur. You and I are allowing this. We are allowing it to happen. Okay? Whether you're being proactive or not in it is another thing. Some of us are being quite proactive in it. But many of us are at least being apathetic and allowing it. And we need to be better. We need to do better. So one of the things that I've been doing, other than shows like this, is I've been volunteering to try to get the vote out. And I've been volunteering on the Democratic side of things. The Democratic Party has, of course, an organization, and they've been, working on, they have voter rolls and contact lists and things like that, and you can make calls. And I've been doing this, and again, I cannot emphasize enough, Mr. Trump cannot be president of the United States again. He was president once. We're barely going to survive it. And if he becomes president again, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he wants to appoint conservative judges, for example, or that he has, or any of the other policy kinds of things, it all has to do with his mental capacity and his temperament and his personality are, just wrought with negative things for any good country, any good democracy. And so as a citizen, okay, I'm taking action. I'm trying to prevent him from becoming reelected. And so part of that, get out the vote, part of the effort of reaching out to people is so-called phone banking, it's called. And there's this software program, and there's a bunch of us several nights a week. We get on there and we make calls, and we call and we call and we call, and we get hung up on a lot. And I don't know, 1 out of 5 calls, 1 out of 10 calls sometimes, we actually talk to a live person and, hey, have you voted? If you're not, here's how you go about voting. Do you want to do absentee ballot? If you want to do that, that's how you do it, and so on. It's this kind of conversation to try to stimulate and ensure that there's plenty of voters out there voting, and we hope, against Mr. Trump. And you go through this and you have all kinds of conversations, and some of them are like, yes, we agree, Mr. Trump is horrible. We must, they couldn't stop me with wildfires from voting and stuff like that. And the other side of it, we run into people. It's like, oh, Mr. Trump is, the best president of all time, and he's a godsend, and you couldn't, you could, wild horses and wildfires couldn't stop me from voting for Mr. Trump. But the reason why I'm doing this particular show, I'm calling it James. And I know the fellow's full name, but I'm not going to mention it because this is a private thing for him. But as I make these calls, sometimes you have some calls are more poignant than others. And Mr. James, James something, I got on the phone with him, and I said, I'm a volunteer with the Democratic Party, and we're trying to ensure that people are voting and so on. And he said, well, sir, I appreciate that you're doing this job, and my wife, she votes. And he says, I'm okay with that. Of course, she is her own adult, and she needs to do what she thinks she needs to do. But as far as I'm concerned, this country doesn't love me, and why should I do something to show support for it? And so, as we talked, and you don't want to spend too much time. You're trying to really go through and try to contact as many people as possible. But regardless of that, I stayed on the line with James, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry you're feeling so frustrated. I know there's a lot of people feeling frustrated. And he said, well, a lot of people, it's politically correct these days to call me African American, but I just assume you call me Negro or Black man, because American, you don't. I'm a U.S. citizen, but no one treats me like I am. And he's like, for my entire life, he said, I'm retired, and for my entire life, I've been accosted by people just because of the color of my skin. I've been pulled over for various traffic violations when I didn't commit them. I've been stopped in the street and frisked. I've been called all kinds of names. I've not been given a fair shake at the various employment opportunities. I've been looked down upon by people of white people in this country, and there's been promises in the past, 60s, 70s, affirmative action, and now where are we? Where are we? My, other people like me are getting shot in the streets because they look like me. And, it's one of those things where when you're on the phone with somebody, sometimes you wish that there was a miracle technology that you could somehow teleport yourself or something to the other end of that line and sit and speak with this person. Have that close human interaction where you hopefully can really express the empathy that you have. And I said to James, I said, I know you feel this, and I apologize to you for the way this has been for you. And I said, I am a white man, and I know that I've had significant advantage. I'm retired also, and I know that I've had significant advantage over you, and I'm sorry. And I sincerely want you to know that that's true. And I said, and I can't fully appreciate what you've been through. I know it would be a horrible thing for me to say that I can fully appreciate what you've been through. But I said, I do. I do feel the empathy for you deeply. I feel the empathy for you. And everyone else like you. All of the other folks with, unfortunately, skin of a different color that, again, wrong-headed kinds of stuff over centuries have led, to your suppression and depression and bias against you. And it's all been incredibly unfair. And I have no doubt that you have felt that nearly every day, if not every day of your life. And I said, the only other thing that I will tell you is that I'm retired, and I don't know how many years I have left on the planet, but I'm going to spend those years trying to make things better. Trying to make sure that those of us that aren't in your group, that aren't, segregated, if you will, into, the Negro race, black men, African American, whatever you want to say to describe that unfortunate subset of our society that has been, looked down upon for so many decades and centuries. I'm working on it. I'm making these calls. I'm talking to people about other things, and I will work every day until my last breath to try to get things better for you and for the rest of us, but especially for you. And he said, well, he said, I'm not going to vote because I just don't feel it. And he said, again, my wife will vote, and she's a Democrat, and so, yeah, she's going to vote for your ticket, and that's up to her. But for me, I will see it when I believe it. When I will believe it when I see it, I should say. So there you have it. There's the story of James, and one of many, many stories, thousands, if not millions of stories that back up this general idea that we need to do better. We need to be better citizens. And we need to do better for each other. So anyway, for the Pro and Con Show, I'm Michael James Ott. And until the next show, bye for now.